How's it going, everybody? This is Dustin with Team Conti Sim Performance with the race run replay for New Hampshire. This is 25 Season 4, Week 1. Just getting everything set up. So this is it's a little shorter than a 30 lap run, and then I'll get into another replay that'll show a little more. Basically, just wanted to show a variety of lines here that you can run. So for the first couple laps, it's really edgy on exit, as you can see. So probably don't want to shift if you are going to shift here for the first few laps. Just kind of keep the rear tires rooted. Later on in the run, you can shift. I don't in this replay. The subsequent replay I will show you. There will be shifting involved. So here's one of the lines that is an option. We found that in a 30 lap run it did fatigue the tires about 4% more, front and rear. Balance, it really didn't affect it much. It did run a little tighter up there, but not much, and that all depends on how hard you charge that top lane. Turn 2 seems to be where the biggest loss of rear grip is. The looser setup, it's going to turn better in the center, but you are going to have a little more of a challenge with that. Exit at 2 mostly. 4, it'll get edgy from time to time. It all depends on how you attack your center, or if you overslow your entry and are down on roll speed at about the 3rd mark. It'll encourage you to just pick up throttle where maybe you shouldn't, or too much, to try and make up for what you lost on that entry to center. And that's when you're when the risk is highest for it to snap free. So if you find that you are having a lot of issues with that little snap loose exit, try rolling a little more speed, diamond a little more in the center, and be straighter, less wheel input exit, kind of like that line there. If you find that you're too tight center, most of the time here that is caused simply by overdriving the entry. I braked right there at the 2. That might have been a little late. Just past the 2 into 3. As I said in the notes, if you're having trouble with the center turn, downshifting will help that. It puts the upshift at a pretty awkward spot for me, so my preference is just to stay in fourth. Fourth gear will not be faster, so if you want to get comfortable, or if you want to optimize what we have, you're definitely going to want to shift. But again, like I say in the notes, if you downshift too early, you can shatter those rear tires and just wear them out, overheat them, and that makes that loose exit worse. Again, we've got plenty of drive off, unless you put yourself in a bad position. Even crossing that seam there, it still had plenty of drive off. I didn't have to come back out of the throttle. Back to that alternative top line. Mainly just want to show that it doesn't really affect lap time that much, although it did pick up a 10th on that lap from the previous. Mostly just wanted to show that there are many lanes to run. Passes can be made anywhere. Again, when we get to the other video, show you lines that can be used for entry or passes on entry. On exit, if you want to enter at this seam right there, and then kind of just woe up that third mark to half mark through the corner, you can really cross up all the way to the bottom, get somebody's inside on exit. You will sacrifice a little straightaway speed there, but if done right, you could end up side by side with somebody off the corner and still have a nose into the next corner. With the top line being gripped up this time around, I imagine what we're going to see is a lot of people just abandoning the bottom and just running top and making passing very, very difficult. But keep in mind, this is a very wide track, so if they do enter really high and you were to enter low with more speed, the slider line is an option. Mostly because they are running, running so much more track. They might be carrying more speed, but because they're traveling a greater distance, they could be compromising their overall lap time, or just track position off of the exit. And if you can clear them and not necessarily park it on their nose, but with less speed in their line, they're going to have they're not going to be able to do anything about it. So check the damage there. I had nothing. I want to go back and look at that. I want to keep an eye on my throttle trace here. Drug brake fine on entry, but picked up way too much too quick, and now I didn't have it pointed back down the hill. The hill, I say, it's a pretty flat track, but back to the bottom at the point where I picked up full throttle. Had to come back out of it and pretty much realized, yeah, we were just in the wall. So, but yeah, you want to make sure you are pointed back to the bottom before you do get wide open. I kind of goosed it in the center to try and make the rear rotate, but it was all because I entered hot, I didn't let it roll, and I never let the front really settle. It was nothing the truck was doing, as you'll see on this next lap. I had the football game on. That's the excuse I'll go with. much better corner. But as you can see, I'm not cranking the wheel. There's no lack of front turn. Not fighting it on exit. Truck's very, very balanced with good roll and solid drive off. So we should have all we need here. Another thing I do here is if I am crossing the seams with my left side tires, I try and do it at a pretty quick angle, especially in 1 and 2. In 3 and 4, I'll play with it some because it is less likely, like I say, less likely to snap free exit. But if you are crossing those seams at a 2, mostly, you want to make sure you're doing it quickly and with as little wheel in it as you can. The first dash line is another solid option if you're feeling tight in this third lane or the top. It's a little bit flatter there, and that adds a little rotation to it, a little freer down there. But yeah, it's pretty cool all the different lines that we have available to us. Whatever they did in the last build that they didn't tell us about, especially when it comes to track surface, surface temps, how that interacts with your tires. There's definitely something different, but it seems to have opened up more lanes here. Just got a little throttle happy there. That's all that one was, with too much wheel. Anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap this one up while I'm loading up that other replay. This replay is this is driven by Justin, so big thanks to Justin Smith. He's definitely one of our best around this place, and he has found other options to run. So we'll get back to that. All right, here we go. So you see it, he is shifting. He is running kind of a very conservative slider line using the apron. There are a couple ways you can use the apron here at New Hampshire. This is one of them, sliding up to that first dotted line and going. Pay attention to these inputs. I'm up here where you can see them better. You can see that he is dragging brake longer than I am. His overlap is better. By overlap, I mean when you're coming out of the throttle and into the brake, at what point do those lines cross? His is way lower than mine was, which means he's kind of letting it roll a little more. He's not stabbing the brake as much. His peak brake pressure there, this is on new tires, mind you, but his peak brake pressure is around the 30 range, I would say. Yeah, about 30. And then he's really progressive with his throttle input. Waits until he's picking up, he's rolling in, but he waits until it's planted and secure, and then gets down the rest of the way on the throttle. He was a little more aggressive that time. Again, that's out of turn 4, where you've got that freedom to do so. All right, and that's that. That's his replay. Keep in mind that everybody else will be running varying lanes. So really, from a driver standpoint, a word of advice would be to keep your eyes up. Always see what the trends are of those in front of you, so that you can find where you may have an advantage over them to make to make something happen. I know that for most that goes without saying, but I feel that it's important to mention here. It's something that's um, it's definitely going to play a big part. While you are observing somebody you may be running down, they're also going to be observing you and seeing, okay, now where is he better? What is he doing? Um, and that'll change the way they drive you defensively. So it'll be a chess game this week, or chess match, I guess. Um, so keep that in mind. Um, Also, tire wear is not a huge factor this week. Our tires were, I think, 88, 86, or 80, or 90, 86 at the end of 30 laps. So tire wear is not a huge issue. Left sides were the 97 range. You may see people take two. If you were to decide to do that, I would definitely short fuel it. And if I made any adjustments, it would simply be positive click on both sides, 1 or 2 clicks for 15 gallons, more for less fuel. That is, again, if you decide to try to. It's something that you'll definitely want to test to just know before you're in a race how it's going to drive. Other items to mention, I believe that about wraps it up. So, wish you guys the best of luck this week. We appreciate you choosing Team Conti Sim Performance. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And good luck this week.